the live button and then I'll do a poll. I'm tired. Whew. And we're live. It is Friday, October 15th, 2021, 5:01 p.m. Eastern Time, because Ben is back, I am back, and we're putting up a poll. It's cheese night. I brought cheese.
I brought whiskey. I did not bring any cheese to cheese night today because I'm a bad person.
This is my new evergreen thing that I keep in the fridge. It's marinated feta and chili peppers and rosemary and oil and chunks of feta and fresh garlic. And it just like sits in my fridge. And every time I like want to dip a piece of bread in something, I just like take it out and smear it on. And it's incredibly good.
It sounds really nice.
Yeah, it's really, I would highly recommend it.
So we're not allowed to have fun anymore.
What was that? But we are allowed to put up a poll, which was supposed to be, the audio.
Yeah, are you using the audio edition of In Lieu of Fun?
How was Paul last night, by the way? I also haven't listened to that.
Paul was great. That was fun. We had a good discussion of cybersecurity monocultures. And we also talked about John Eastman, so we had a good time.
Who's John Eastman?
You know, the lawyer for the planned coup.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, sorry, of course. Who's the guy? Oh, Eastman Kodak. That's what I was thinking of.
Sorry. Yeah, it's John Eastman Kodak.
Very, very tired. My brain is like I woke up the other night for a very long day at 2:30 in the morning and was trying to go back to sleep for the entire night. What?
That's too early to get up in the morning.
I know it is. Even for Lisa.
You have to stop that.
I woke up and I tried to get back to sleep for 4 hours. And normally how I do this is by reading, and this is going to sound really weird. No, don't tell anyone that I do this. But no, it's reading Wikipedia pages for found missing persons. So like, I like to read about like all of the people who have gone mysteriously missing. It's like, I don't know why. And then they've like been found or sometimes never found, or if I'm feeling adventurous. But what I realized is that I've done this for the past like 550 days or whatever with John next to me in bed. So I'm never like anxious or whatever, but I was away from home. And so I was by myself in a hotel and I just scared the shit out of myself. And I couldn't fall asleep for like 5 hours. And then I just had to get up. And it was a terrible idea. It was really terrible. So I wouldn't recommend that. I was like, maybe there's someone under this bed. I have no idea.
I just want to point out though that you should
I'm putting up the poll.
You should not get up that early in the morning.
Yes.
Just saying.
Okay. And GDF is here. Hold on. There you go.
Oh, let's bring her on. I wonder if Luke is with her.
And Nina is poking me in the leg. Everyone's got demands.
Life is good.
Yeah. Nina, oh God. You're very tickly. Genevieve.
So do we have an agenda for this night's cheese night?
Cheese? Hi!
Hi, the diva's not joining me today.
The diva? Is that his name now? What we call him?
I mean, it alternates between diva and monster, depending on how good he's being.
That sounds like Loki.
I know, right?
I know a friend who calls his infant Al-Shababy.
One of my friends at her wedding, her dad said that they called her Leona Helmsley for the first 3 years of her life. They're like, oh, Leona's awake.
That's awesome.
Yeah, he's not that bad.
Yes, you're spelling Nina's name correctly, April. It's N-E-N-A. It's weird.
So she's the snuggliest dog.
So what's on the agenda today for discussion on cheese night?
I have a Luke-related question, if everyone would entertain it.
A what related question?
A Luke related question.
Oh, excellent.
What should he be for Halloween?
That's the show. That's the show right there.
I think what Luke should be for Halloween, that is... And we are taking audience suggestions. If you have a suggestion, flag it in the Ask a Question box. Nina will zap you on the screen, and we can talk about what you think that Luke should be for Halloween.
This is our producer now. Yeah.
Except when Luke, the diva, shows up too.
Yeah.
I have to come up with a better name than the diva. It's just that
I like the side. Diva.
Yeah.
Okay. You know, I know you just want to be up here because there's cheese up here. But okay. Oh yeah. What if we? Oh, I ordered you a dog shirt, and so it should be coming. It's going to be too big. But what if we make him go as Ben for Halloween? And we give him little eyebrows, and there's one gray eyebrow, and then there's
wait a minute. And then what if we make him go as Kate? And he's going to be bald.
No. It is much closer to make a baby look like an older man than they are very close in resemblance.
I think we could dress the baby up as KK. We can give Luke overalls, and you know, a brightly colored that shirt from Montana that Kate wears sometimes.
Oh, the one
the giant one.
The giant one that for it's an extra large, and
the sleeves go down to your ankles if you don't roll them up. I like that shirt. I'm
open to more than one costume, you guys. We could do a week of costumes. I will provide photos because I don't know if he'll behave, but
it's amazing. I love that. Hi, Nina.
Ooh, Mateo, a baby cannon would be cool.
Oh, a baby firing from a baby cannon.
How do you dress a baby up as a baby cannon?
You make it a cannon that is firing a baby. So it is a baby cannon.
Oh, that's funny.
Get it?
Well, yeah. Yes, I get it. But you're going back to the very offensively disgusting, rude, original meaning of the term baby cannon, which I only learned when I named baby cannon as such, and lots of people thought I was being foul.
Oh, I have no idea what that is.
Good.
I'll Urban Dictionary it.
Yeah,
I don't want it.
It's really unnecessary. No, we're not shooting babies. We're not shooting babies.
I understand.
Oh,
I got it.
Okay.
You're the baby cannon. Too much. Sorry, that's it. That's as far as we're going.
Yeah.
But I do like the idea of making it. Okay, maybe you're right. Okay, maybe.
Yeah, I don't think you want to play in those waters.
Way to ruin.
I'm just helping, guys, because
you ruined it.
No, because if you didn't hear that from me, and there was a costume. Can you imagine, Twitter, how Twitter would have pointed this out?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. Well, maybe it can be baby Prosecco.
I like that.
Feel like
that would make a certain Shannon Mercer very happy.
I'm writing all these down. So Ben, Kate, baby Prosecco.
A little self-serving, aren't we? Little ego maniacal.
Wait, what about Scott?
Oh, Scott. We'll have a PowerPoint presentation next to him.
Yeah, and and you'd have to have him smashing a inclusive legal positivist. I don't know how you visualize that.
Rick Grinnell. There's I don't know what else. Baby chipmunk.
Oh,
that's cute, actually.
That would be very cute.
Because it's everyone. So pumpkin is also something that I've been highly told to do by interested grandmothers, and I'm we can get better. We can do better than a pumpkin.
More than one.
No, just one. But my mom has such strong opinions that there's She gets multiple
disproportionate vote counting. My parents, I think I showed this in your class. Oh no, maybe I didn't because I didn't teach in the fall. But my parents dressed me up as, they thought this was freaking hilarious, as two lawyers dressed me up as a tiny little convict with a paper with like a black and white stripes, and my birthday is like my number and a little hat, and then they put like a little paper mache ball and chain on my ankle.
Oh wow. I like that though. That is funny.
It was pretty cute. Hold on, let me see if I can find the picture. It's here somewhere. But I love this. I'm gonna bring people on in 1 second.
My parents, the first costume I think they did for me was like I was a pea in a pod, so it was like I had 3 very large green balls attached to like a green jumpsuit, and they were like,
"Do you remember it?"
No, not at all. But there's photographic evidence, which is the only reason I know it.
So here's the question that's bugging me until Kate brings on people to go back to the costume issue. So far, we have only 5 votes for people who were using the audio edition of In Lieu of Fun. And I don't know whether that means that there are other people who are listening to it who don't watch the show, or whether it means that there's no reason for me to be doing it every day.
I feel like you should post a Twitter poll, because
I do think that that's correct.
I mean, if you're watching it live, how often are you going to go back and re-listen to the audio?
But I've sort of always assumed it was like going to be used by people who, watch it regularly, but then they miss a day, so they listen to it. But now I'm just wondering if it's a waste of my time.
I mean, nothing is a waste of your time, Ben. There are, like, even if one more person gets to listen to the audio of In Lieu of Fun, it has not been a waste. I'm being minorly sarcastic there. But no, I think that it might be a waste of your time. Like, what do you have, like, do you think, like, how many would it have to be that listen to it for it to be worth it for you?
Well, I don't know. I mean, like, if there were people who got in touch and said, hey, I really can't watch it live on a regular basis, and so sitting in front of YouTube for an hour is not going to happen, but I like listening to it when I go running. Like, that's plausible. Like, I think we should make it available by as many means as we can, but I'm not really sure. But only if people are using them, which is why we cut the Facebook feed.
Does Apple tell you how many people are listening to the episodes?
So, Apple, you can't learn from Apple, but we do know we have download numbers from the podcast subscribers. It's about 10,000 downloads a month. So it's, 350 people in the last 24 hours. It's not a trivial number, but it's not, it's not a large stream either. But then again, the entire stream of people watching or listening to the show isn't particularly large. So, I don't know. I'll keep doing it, guys. But I think that everybody here should listen to all the episodes they miss live on this, so that I feel better about it. Just saying.
Let's see if this works.
Because it's hurting my feelings.
Wait, really?
No.
I believed you.
All you have to do is threaten to have your feelings hurt, and Kate will get concerned.
I know, it's very true.
It's like
true. A very awful thing to take advantage of, but it's
the mere whiff of somebody's having his feelings hurt, and Kate's like, "No, really?
I don't like hurting people's feelings." That reminds me of one of this. Okay, have you guys read the Bad Art Friend story?
No.
Should I?
I'm a bad art friend. I don't know what that means, but I'm sure I am one.
No, so, oh my God, how could you not have read this story? It's been going around Twitter for ages. It's a New York Times story about 2 women. both of whom were short story, not particularly successful short story authors, and were in a Facebook group together because they'd been at a similar workshop together. And one of the women, who seems to be a certain sort of person, decided to donate one of her kidneys anonymously to a random person, and to like donate her kidney. And so now you might be like being like, oh, this is the thing that I've heard about
yes, I have heard about it. I heard this is a kidney donation story in which the kidney donor turns out to be the bad guy.
No, this is why this is like, it's a litmus test. Okay, so maybe we should do a poll. But like, so let me just like quickly summarize the story. So this one woman, her name is Dawn, is the kidney donor. She posts about it on Facebook, tells the whole story about going through and giving like a kidney donation, encourages others to do organ donation, posts in this group about organ donation, notices that like very few people like or comment on it. And, you know, just kind of takes it in stride. But like a little weird that you're kind of like want this adulation and you've done this altruistic thing like for this type of thing, right? So like, meanwhile, this
Every
other
time
woman,
I've ever donated a kidney, I have not sought adulation for it, merely financial compensation.
So this other woman in the group who was friendly with Dawn-ish, apparently, according to Dawn, or Dawn considered her a friend. She like basically didn't consider Dawn a friend. Ended up writing a short story about a white woman who, and like Sonia, the woman who writes this story, uses the exact language that Dawn uses in the Facebook, post about her kidney donation, because she thinks it is like too perfect and she couldn't make it up. And literally so what happens is Dawn and Sonia try to resolve this. Dawn becomes very, very hurt that she's written an entire short story and won an award for it and is presenting it over, and it's like literally about Dawn, and feels like, and it is like not a very nice story, right? And like this person has done like, it's not great to seek adulation for like selfless acts, but she's still done a selfless act. And like, but also this woman, Sonia, is kind of just seems like a bully. Like she's just like written this entire story. And like more than that, she has like legitimately taken the words of another person and like not quoted them like as a quote,
but plagiarized a kidney transplant.
Like, but that's part of this entire thing is like, is this a story about plagiarism? And who owns the story and whose rights of publicity are at stake? And like, what are all of the various types of like, what are the various like maybe legal or ethical obligations here? And then like what ends up happening is Dawn ends up suing Sonia for this kind of like defamation of character and all this stuff. And all of these things come out in which becomes all of these text messages and all of these exchanges with all of the women, private exchanges with women in the chat come out, in which she like openly contemplates and talks shit about Dawn and like is fomenting all this mean stuff in this group, and then like is also openly like, I should change the words of this thing, but it's too good, I'm just gonna take it. And like this is like, so this is why it has been like the what color is the dress type of thing. Is it gold or blue, or is it black and white? Like it has become this kind of like litmus test of like, are you team Dawn or are you team Sonia? Or the rogue element is like, it's not a dress at all, it's actually a very long shirt or something like that, which is basically like, it's actually a story about a male author who wrote this really catty, awful story that made two women both look horrible. That's like the kind of so that
I'm team Scott Shapiro in this.
What is his take?
Oh, I have no idea, but it just seems to me like he would have some perfectly take that would make fun of everybody involved and it would be like one sentence long.
So I have like almost this exact story. Well, I think it's exact. When I was in law school, I was living with a bunch of other law students, like by my third year. And one of the women I was living with, who I was like close, I considered a friend, and like I was like nice to her. I wasn't like best friends with her, but we were like living together and we'd known each other for a while, and she was not, like fine. Asked if she could borrow some of my clothes for Halloween, and I was like, sure. And she picked out like a bunch of random stuff that I didn't really think went together. A lot of like stuff that I had. And she went out to the party that she was going to go to, like a law school party I hadn't been invited to, or didn't want to go to, or something. And I found out,
as you.
Yeah, I found out.
See, it's just what I'm urging on Genevieve for Luke.
Yeah, no, but this is why I'm mentioning this, because it actually was like.
Yeah, but that's really mean.
It was really mean. She walked around the party like I had helped her like put her costume together and like lent her my clothes. And then she like went as me and was like, I'm Kate Klonick, ha ha ha, isn't it funny? And like everyone at the party was like, ha. And it was just like, I was like, yikes. Like, but it was like one of those like finding out that everyone in the class got invited to a birthday party and you didn't
and
get
somebody
invited.
Else went dressed as you.
Yeah, someone else went dressed.
So like, but every time I've gone to a costume party as Kate, people have taken it totally differently. And so I just think if we're, they've taken it in the spirit in which it's meant.
Like I would like when you go as a Lisa Page puppet. That was like an homage.
That was right. I mean, people understood that was
intent is important. Intent is important.
Intent is important. Right. But like, man, it was. So I was like, yeah, I kind of am like a little bit more team Dawn on this one, even though I think her suit was like totally over the line and like this was really dumb. And she kind of like went off the deep end with it. I do think that there was like this bullying aspect and kind of, but anyways, what is your impulse?
I mean, the first question I thought, and this is just how law school changes your brain, is was the Facebook group public? Could other people see it? Did you have to join it in order to have access to it?
You had to join.
Yeah. So I don't know. I think that when you get the context,
but she had posted in a completely public way to everyone about the kidney donation and then reposted it in the group. So if you were friends with her,
has strong feelings about this.
Ooh, we should have them come talk about them.
Okay, hold on. I'm
putting. I don't know. The DNL thinks he's right. So,
which bad art friend do you side with? Why am I capitalizing all these words? I don't know.
Dawn is like bizarre.
Dawn, who is the kidney donor, and then
Sonia's the author.
Sonia, who is the author. And I'm not adding a third option because I think it's important that we first get a litmus test of this.
Yeah.
So.
I don't like the mean girl aspect of like the text messages and like the.
Well, this is why Ben is mocking
of it.
Yeah. And this is why Ben is teasing of like, did I make someone feel bad? And how I always react, because I really have been that I felt bad and people made me feel bad and not cared. So I never want to make people feel bad. It's a bad thing. It's not nice. Anyways, that's a very sophisticated comment from me. So like I'm going to bring in Mike Godwin now. Let's see. This woman went on to work at like some horrible billionaire partner at like a capital investing firm and like lives outside of Boston with her 2.5 children and like whatever. So I don't know.
Crossing off the metrics.
Yeah. That's your curse if you go as me as Halloween. You're going to end up living outside of Boston and having a soulless job. Hi, Mike.
Nice. Hi, how are you? So I'm missing the part of the poll question where I get to vote for Janet Malcolm.
Who's that?
Yeah, they're not old enough to know who you're talking about.
Okay, well, Janet Malcolm is a New Yorker reporter who was
recently dead.
She recently died, but she was sued and for writing an article about other writers who've been sued. and about actually talking about the fact that when you are a writer, in her case, a reporter, but also, writers aren't your friends. People who are, reporters are not, you may be friends with a reporter, but you should not assume that because you are, you move in the same circles as a reporter that they're going to, if you're part of a story, the fact is you may not have control over that story. And I think that's true for fiction writers too. So I am more inclined to go on the Sonia side, but also,
said like a copyright scholar too. My Godwin, Jesus.
Oh, the copyright scholar piece is just easy enough. I think that let's just assume, for the sake of the argument, the facts in the light most favorable to the plaintiff. I think it's a transformative fair use.
Do you?
Oh yeah.
Even though it's like almost exactly her story. Do you think just writing it makes it transformative?
But the thing is, it's not her story. It's actually a story about a fictional character, in which the author, Sonia, I guess is her name, the author lifted a real life text and placed it in the context of a fictional story. So it's not really about. It's not recasting the letter itself. It's about using it as an element in a fictional work. So I don't think there's any defamation or misrepresentation piece to it. And I think
are you saying,
copyright piece.
Are you saying that as a matter of copyright law, there's no such thing as cultural appropriation? But I can just take your life.
I'm pretty sure I'll always say that, man.
I can just take your life and add it to my fiction, and you're just screwed.
Well, that's not cultural appropriation unless you think I represent culture, which I'm going to deny.
Yes, that's true. Mike is definitely not representing culture.
It was the only joke I could make on the spot with the word appropriation, dude.
As the Russians would say, I'm the essence of neoculturny, so I'm not really.
I don't know. You've performed Shakespeare.
Well, some people would say no.
Did you know, speaking of Russian performances of Shakespeare, that for many Russians, Hamlet actually can just never live up to Gomyet, which is the great translation of Hamlet into Russian. That they're actually always a little bit disappointed with the original.
I didn't actually know that, but who was the translator? Was it like Pushkin or somebody?
I believe it is Pushkin. Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
that guy.
There's a lot of Now you're just drilling down into what little trivial pursuit knowledge I might have about this issue. Well, but let me just unpack the story a little bit, because I want to tell you my own reaction was initially, if somebody had taken my emails, for example, and transplanted them into some fictional piece, I would be upset about it. I would be irritated about it. And so I sympathize with that piece of it, even if ultimately the use, I would have to say, as a copyright analyst, I would have to say maybe it's transformative fair use, even if I am uncomfortable with it. But I think that what you see as you read the whole story is that there really is another side to this. And, there was something a bit creepy about the kidney donor. I mean, maybe you don't agree.
No, I do. I mean, but like, I don't think that we have a word for like what was creepy about the kidney donor, or a succinct way of saying what. And I think that there was something the story touched on that is true in society about like why we don't really why it kind of strikes you as weird that someone would do something like this. And then
was there like a narcissism quality to it?
Yeah. No, the narcissism of small organ donations.
But I mean, and perhaps this is a little off topic, but I kind of felt that way with a lot of the mission trips that people I knew on went into when I was in college, because they would always come back with photographs with themselves posing with children. And it really bothered me. And so it was like, it's one thing if you're going, but then your Facebook's covered with you and all these children who are very much in need, and I'm glad you're helping them, but like it's like a self-publicity thing.
Yeah. Signaling thing.
Yeah, but I think Dawn, in extremis, right? I mean, for Dawn, it became part of her personal narrative, and I can see why Sonia was really struck by how extreme, the focus on, the importance of the donation was, and how it seemed to be a kind of a weird, I don't want to say virtue signaling because that word belongs somewhere else, but a kind of a weird
we're reclaiming
self-validation, exercise.
Yeah, I think that's right. Wait, who is this woman that I was supposed to look up and you were telling us about that just recently died?
Janet Malcolm.
Oh yeah, the writer. Wait, why is she like Dawn? Did you explain that and I missed it?
No, she's not. She's like Sonia.
Oh, she just took people's stories. Okay, I got it. Okay,
well, it's not just that. It's not just that. She wrote about the fact that she actually was writing in defense of another writer who had tried to do a true crime book about someone he thought was being railroaded for a murder. And then he came to believe, as he investigated the case, that the guy really was the murderer. And so he had access to the defendant, who was convicted and then was on appeal. He had plenty of access. And as he had access, he changed his mind. He didn't tell his source that he had changed his mind for this book that he was writing. And so...
and Janet Malcolm, how does Janet Malcolm come in? She just wrote his story?
She wrote
scooped him?
No. She wrote a story about the dispute between the original writer and the defendant. I'll get you the names. It's Friday, so I can't quite put my finger on every name, but somebody will remember them in a minute.
Is that, yeah.
Jeffrey, somebody, right.
In defense of writers, though, because, I mean, this is something that I kind of do struggle with a bit, because there is, and again, excuse my lack of language skills right now, but there is, while you could argue that they do appropriate some facts or some other people's stories, it's still their perspective. So that the lens is the unique ownership part for me, and I struggle with that too, because as long as the facts are valid and in line with what occurred, the perspective part, until it affects someone's like livelihood or the rest of their life.
I don't want to interrupt, but in case anybody gets ready to phase me out of this conversation, I want to add one important thing, which is that there's a Supreme Court case that's very squarely on this subject. It's called Time Inc. versus Hill, and it was argued at the Supreme Court by a famous Supreme Court advocate named Richard Nixon.
I've heard that guy.
I'm going to have to read this.
Don't taint that very problematic case with Richard Nixon. That is just like that is like totally out of totally irrelevant to so time be
bitter to his dying day about having lost it.
He was he thought the Warren Court was going to fuck him over because he was Richard Nixon.
So Time v. Hill is a case that is basically like a privacy First Amendment case, which was basically about a family of 5 people in Pennsylvania that were taken hostage in their own house by 3 escaped convicts. And basically they eventually left without doing harm, but the whole thing got all of this media attention. It was obviously very traumatic. And am I telling this correctly, Mike? I think,
there's a Life magazine depiction.
The Life magazine, yeah.
And then there's a play.
Yes. So then, and someone wrote a novel about this, okay, influenced by the news stories. And then the novel went on to be a Broadway theater production called The Desperate Hours, which is the name of this thing. And the Desperate Hours, so Time Inc. owned Life magazine. And so when the Hills sued Life, sued Time, basically saying that all of this caused them great psychological anguish to see their life dramatized in this way, and this was real events that happened to them, and to see it kind of spun out into the ether like this was completely unfair. And the holding of the case was basically, if I'm like remembering correctly, is that basically like there's a lot of breadth that we will give to like to like historical fiction, basically, to the idea that like that people are going to like kind of take these events and have the freedom of expression to like to turn it into art. Is that kind of the general idea? And so the Hills lost, basically, like the family lost.
That's right.
Yeah.
Now, I should say, by the way, that you can find on the internet recordings now of Nixon's oral argument, which I think is actually pretty good. He lost. His side lost, but I think he lost on the merits. It wasn't because Nixon was a bad advocate. He was a perfectly competent Supreme Court advocate.
If memory serves, he was then attached to the firm of Blank Rome. Is that right?
I don't remember.
That's the kind of thing you would know. What
Normally,
law firm was Nixon with between his governorship and his presidency? I believe it was Blank Rome.
You mean between his governor's race?
Yes.
He sadly never governor of California, per Richard. But if he'd been governor of California, he might never have been president. So there you go.
Well, that's like a Paul's graph question for another day. I'm going to leave that.
No, well, so. I mean, it really does talk. You have to really analyze foreseeability to get the answer, and no two people will give the same answer.
Just Paul's graph is a famous case that teaches about foreseeability and causation that you learn in every American legal student learns in torts class. And so there are like a few memes in law school that you kind of have. And I remember like teaching this to Genevieve, which is like, they really, you should think of the cases as memes. They're holdings and they are whatever, but they exist almost entirely at this point as like one very small idea that like everyone can touch. And the reason that they're taught is because they are this cultural reference point for a group of professionals. And it's like a joke that you get let in on to like, to learn Paul's graph, to learn international shoe, to like learn, some of these cases. So
yeah, to put it another way, the case is a proximate cause of a lot of law student humor.
Yeah. Oh, wow, Mike. Okay,
exploding now you're going. Train humor.
Yeah. Now you're going. Mike, it's so good to see you. Bye.
Yeah. Bye.
Okay. Eric Berg, where are you? I'm bringing you back on. Hi.
I heard, Eric Berg, that you actually met IRL with Tim Miller.
Yeah, we had a good afternoon while his husband watched his kid run around the park here in Boise, and we ran around the park with her in Boise, so it was a lot of fun.
Excellent.
That's very fun.
He's taller than you would think in real person, or I'm shorter. I don't know which. One way or the other.
Maybe both.
Yeah, maybe both. Eric, I loved your question, but first I want you to answer it yourself.
Okay. I think this pretty well explains me as a person. To how I would have to pick either. I grew up in Salt Lake.
First explain what your question was.
Okay. What's the favorite Halloween costume you ever did? And the two I would probably go for me is one to explain. I grew up in Salt Lake and went to a Catholic high school, and didn't happen to be Mormon. So I dressed up as younger Berg instead of elder Berg for the Halloween dance.
Niche joke, but pretty good.
I like it.
I had the sign. I was wearing a black suit instead of like the white thing, and I was carrying around, I think it was a Stephen Jay Gould book of some sort. And then also when I was like 12, I dressed up as Ross Perot and had a chart. The kids had no idea what was going on. The parents thought it was hilarious.
That's pretty excellent.
That is really good.
So,
Ben, what's your favorite Halloween costume
that I've ever worn? Well, I think I've told you the gorilla story.
Yes. Yeah, the psychological damage.
the damage that did to my neighbor's child, I think really has to rank it right up there. And so I'm going to go with that. I also once, in the spirit of dressing a baby up as a pumpkin, I once told my then young son that I was going to be a pumpkin head for Halloween to distribute the candy. And he didn't believe me, which meant that I had to do it. So I carved out a jack-o'-lantern upside down, cut a big hole in there, and stuck it on my head, which was very fun and smelled really nice. It left a lot of pumpkin seeds and gloop in my hair, which I then had more of than I do now. But I think... I think I was, and then the next year I did that, but I intricately carved Barack Obama's face into the pumpkin.
Oh, wow.
And so I was Barack Pumpkinhead, which a lot of the parents...
That's not even, like, close to being a pun.
No, it was not meant to be a pun.
Okay.
Because the first time was in one of the Wizard of Oz books. There's Jack Pumpkinhead. Yeah. And so I was like gonna distribute the candy as Jack O'Pumpkinhead. And then I don't know, it went from there. But it's actually pretty labor intensive to create a jack-o'-lantern that you can put over your head. So I only did it twice.
Finding the right pumpkin, because you need like the right shape, you need the right size. I imagine there was a lot of...
It needs to be big.
And not too heavy, and you
have to and they're super heavy. Yeah, like you have to like make it so that it sits on your shoulders, because otherwise it's pushing on here, and it's actually pretty hard, and it gets hot in there.
Yeah, I bet. Genevieve.
Well, I have my favorite, and then I have one that I really want to do at some point in my life. I will do it. But my favorite was when I was in 3rd grade. I wanted to go as Amelia Earhart, and so I was all ready to go as Amelia Earhart. And like 3 days before Halloween, I was playing tag with this little boy who was one of my friends, and I thought he was super cute. And he was it, and I ran into a wall and got a black eye, so then I had to be a hockey player. And it was the most authentic costume I've ever had.
That is super cute. That is really cute. Okay, hold on. I found this. I'm going to share my screen. Tell me if it works. That is my, can you see it?
Excellent. Your prisoner costume.
That was my prisoner costume. Hold on. This is the prisoner costume.
KK, your parents were odd.
I love this.
I know.
I mean, this is a super odd costume to dress a kid up in.
Yeah. I mean, it's a little bit.
That's adorable.
But this is me like looting like the candy bars.
But the next question is, why is that not your Twitter? If I had a costume like that, picture of me, that would totally be my Twitter ID. Just saying.
I remember when you went through the phase, Ben, where you kept making your Twitter ID a lizard person. I'm
not quite over that phase yet. It's just in remission.
Eric, thank you for your awesome question. I want pictures next time. See if you can find them of your costume. Well, that would be great.
I'll look around.
You have a few weeks to prepare. So I don't make that my costume because, or I don't make that my Twitter thing because we had a few. So my family was super into Halloween. There were a few rules. Like there was a huge ritual about going to the pumpkin patch and getting pumpkins. There were massive decorations that happened in our house. And like we had as many Halloween accoutrements, wreaths, candles, pumpkins, junk. Literally, like, this stuff would give John a heart attack if he ever saw like how much crap that like my family accumulated for like one holiday and stored in an attic. But we had like, my dad would go out on the roof and he made these giant spiders out of black garbage bags. Like, the whole abdomen of the spider was a giant inflated black garbage bag, and then like the head was a big like black balloon, and then he like made these like legs that came off, and he put them all over the house. And I mean, it was like, that was, and you had to like, the pumpkin carving was like a whole ritual. We made the pumpkins later into pies, and then like we saved all the seeds. And anyways, but basically the main thing was you couldn't go as the same thing twice, and you had to wear something that could fit over a snowsuit, because it was usually snowing in Rochester for Halloween, and that was the deal. Paula, are you there? Paula, what was your favorite Halloween costume from like 5 years ago? Because that was the last time you
and what should Luke go as for what should Luke do for Halloween this year?
Okay, so I think my favorite one was when I went as a nun.
I love that.
And I think Luke should go as a Lisa Page puppet, like paper bag. You could use those like lawn trimming bags.
I'll make one.
Yes, it's very cost efficient. Okay. And
you should just wrap him in this afterwards and just keep it for a while. It's good. It's like one free diaper.
Oh, they're so expensive. They're so expensive.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I was a nun. And then one year, this was a disaster. I should have never done. I went as Kesha, but as you can imagine, dressing up as Kesha at school is not an appropriate thing to do.
No, Paula. No.
Not go well.
There is no like one thing that Kesha is. Like, there's not like you could like do the voice, right? And everyone would be like, oh yeah, now it's Kesha. Like you could for Cher, right? You could wear a mini skirt and long hair and like have some type of like very aquiline nose. And then you could like do the, do you believe? And then like everyone would like understand who you were. But like, what are you going to do? Like, what, are you going to twerk in school to like show everybody that you're Kesha? Like, what are you even?
Well, no, I was in like 7th grade.
This worse.
Idea that I had. I wasn't allowed to wear scary
Don't make that your Twitter profile. That's my free advice for today.
I wasn't allowed to wear scary costumes. My mom like didn't let me, like, very Catholic, and like no skulls or like ghosts or things like that. So very not scary costumes. So we went with Kesha for the year.
I like it.
Face is like, okay, so can I ask my question for you guys?
No.
Okay.
See you later. I'm just kidding. Yes.
So because of Ben now, I've gotten to meet a lot more lawyers on Twitter. And in a good way. I don't know why.
Because she's planning to sue me.
Oh God!
So
no,
all
God.
the lawyers, the whole plaintiffs bar has followed Paula to represent her in her suit against me.
Oh Lord!
Anyway. And I've actually been like thinking about this ever since I started at Michigan. But I just had a meeting with a professor today, and she like asked me how I was liking law school and just this experience. And I was like, I'm surprised how nice everyone is. And not because I thought like everyone would be mean, but it's like, including Ben, Kate, and you, Genevieve, like there's no reason for someone like Ben or Kate or you guys who are like really intelligent and have great careers, like to like help a random person. And I see this all the time on Twitter, and all of the lawyers on there are super nice. And it's actually kind of the dumb ones that seem to be jerks. And maybe that's just
I have some things to tell you about life someday, but I'm not going to do it on a live stream.
Okay, so maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I just had a really great experience so far. But I haven't had a bad experience, at least on like so far on Twitter with lawyers. Everyone seems to be genuinely nice.
Well, I mean, generally speaking, the longer you are on Twitter, the more likely you are to have a bad experience writ large. And if you continue befriending lawyers, probably more likely to have a bad experience with lawyers. But that being said, I do think that in particular, it's a performative community. So like, I don't think that people are going to treat you like you're stupid. And if people tag you and like you're in a community of people who make it their business and jobs to teach young people the law, you're going to have a really nice interaction. If you're like, the bad reputation that lawyers get is that they represent people that people think are like or against principles that they don't believe in or values that they believe in. And the lawyers either don't care about that type of principles because of the amount of money involved, or because of like because of the amount of money involved, or because of some deep-seated belief in process and like other types of principles that they place above substantive ones. And so I'm kind of like describing criminal defense attorneys that people are like, how could you defend this serial rapist? And like, well, you believe that every person deserves defense, and so you decide to like represent them. But then I'm also talking, how do you defend like the tobacco companies? And it's like a little harder to sleep at night, but it helps if you have $100 million pillow. So like these are kind of the raps that lawyers get. And the other thing is that the law is gray, and that it's always easy to argue, not easy, it's always possible to argue plausibly another side. And part of having an adversarial system is that you set yourself up to always be arguing a plausible side. Oh my God, are we going to be
Are we selecting another photo? Oh, this is
Ben.
So many great lizard people photos.
These are amazing.
This is definitely going to feed into like the Illuminati QAnon conspiracy.
I mean,
Ben, is this going to be your Halloween costume this year?
No, it's just going to, cycle through. Kate reminded me that I hadn't done a cycle of lizard people profile pics in a while. So I just, going to cycle some in. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, it's fine. That was pretty good. Anyway, sorry. I didn't mean to like be lecturing Paula about how lawyers are also.
No, I mean that's why I like asked the question, because it's totally possible that it's all. I don't want to say a facade, but it's like, I guess
it would also be a facade. I mean, like
it's also
you're connected
to be a jerk.
You're connected to a group of people who are pretty serious about talking about the law in public and educating people about law in public, and and you're also connected to some people who weren't just nice, and but
it's a sample size.
Nice people tend to surround themselves with nice people, which so just don't confuse it with reality, which is
not nice.
Not always nearly as nice.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, I been told that it's not going to do well for anyone to be a jerk, because I mean, obviously you're going to have to interact with these people, even if they're on the opposing side of when you're doing something and you need something from them. It's not going to be very easy to get something if you've been an asshole to someone your entire career.
Yep. Well, it really depends. If you're enough of an asshole, people will pay money to make you go away. So there's people who live their whole lives.
That's the key lesson. If you're going to be an asshole, no half measures here, Paula.
Do it professionally.
Right? Yeah. You want to be a serious industrial strength asshole. Because there's no half points in asshole class.
Do you mean go away into the ground?
No, you gotta either go all in or don't try the asshole thing. You can't you don't get half credit for being
mostly an asshole.
Okay. Half asshole's constipated professionally.
That's the spirit.
Well done. Yeah, that was, as always, Genevieve has a way with words. Paula, see you. Oh, you disappeared yourself. Wow. I think that. Hello, Reverend Doctor.
The very Reverend Hillary Livingston.
How are you?
I presume.
It's been a minute. Nice to see you.
Okay?
I love your pumpkin.
Thank you. Cute. I'm all into fall. Happy fall, y'all.
Mm-hmm. It is exciting.
Does it feel like fall in Delaware? Because it sure does not here It was 78 today.
It was like.
Why are you wearing a tank top or a turtleneck, Genevieve?
Oh, this was an emergency. I need a new shirt because the other one had stuff all over it.
Oh, yeah, fair enough.
There you go.
It was on the top of the pile.
There you go. I've had those days. It's very warm here. It was like 80 degrees, and it's still, the trees are still green, and it's not very fall, but it's supposed to cool off, I think, next week. So
yeah.
But
you had a suggestion, I think.
I did. I think Luke should be Bob Ross.
Oh.
I think you should get him one of the, the wig and like the little like paintbrush and
happy trees.
Like, what's that?
Happy little trees.
Happy little trees. Yeah, and you could somehow somehow get a little easel that could somehow, I don't know, configure some on. It would be
really
so
love this.
Cute.
It would.
We could do like the 15 days of a 15 days of October or of like Halloween, like
do a
thing.
countdown. Yeah.
Yeah. It would be really cute. I would retweet the heck out of that. I'm not on Twitter right now, but I would if I was. I might come back just to retweet those. That's a great
I really like
pitch.
that one.
I think that would be really cute. And my favorite Halloween costume was when I was Pat Benatar, or no, I was 80s singer Laura Branigan in 4th grade. So
were you also Pat Benatar?
No.
Oh.
Just Laura Branigan.
Okay.
And I just wore normal clothes and carried a microphone. Because you couldn't really look up people and see what they looked like in the 80s, so I didn't really know what she looked like.
Yeah.
That's true.
Mean, yeah.
But I was super put out that people didn't immediately recognize me as Laura Branigan.
That's the problem with non-lizard people costumes.
Yeah.
Is that, like when you go as a human.
You know where you're going to go with that. And then.
No, I mean, you go as a human and like people might not put it together.
People do, yeah.
When you go as a lizard person,
it's obvious.
There's no doubt.
It's out there. Yeah. Good point.
Ben, are you going to be... Are we going to do... Well, we don't have Halloween on the calendar. So, Hillary, you're going to be like a vote here. Should we do costumes for the cheese night before Halloween? It doesn't actually fall on, I think, in lieu of fun day. No,
absolutely.
It's on a Sunday this year.
I'm all about costumes. I would wear costumes every day of the year if it were socially acceptable. I love dressing up, so.
Cool.
All right. We're taking it as a challenge. There will be Halloween cheese night.
Sweet.
I can't go as a paper bag again. I already did it, and that's the rule in my family. So I'll come up with something else.
There you go.
And I can't be a hockey player or Amelia Earhart.
What if you just have to show up and then you would be Amelia Earhart?
When you go as Amelia Earhart, how do they know you're Amelia Earhart?
Oh, I had one of those pilot leather like fake hats with like the big goggles and like the scarf.
Is that photo of Amelia Earhart in like her like period aviation gear, like the Charles Lindbergh area, why did they wear those weird pants that were like riding pants for like, I don't understand. But anyways,
I also wore a name tag that said I am Amelia Earhart.
There you go. That's what I should have worn a name tag.
That's what you should have done.
I'm Laura Branigan, and there you go.
That like reminds me of like with the Buffy the Vampire Slayer joke in which Willow dresses up as a knight, and everyone is like, "Oh, you're a knight," and she's like, "No, I'm Joan of Arc. I'm in service of God." And then her boyfriend is just like standing there in normal clothes, and he has like a little name tag that says God on it, and he was like.
So does anybody here remember Jim Fixx? Jim Fixx was a fitness guru who wrote a book about like jogging, I think.
Richard Simmons?
No. His name was Jim Fixx, Fixx.
I know.
And he
not even close, Ben. I was just kidding.
You never know when Kate's kidding and when she's just being naive or
I try to keep it that way so you don't know how
I know it makes for good conversation. So Jim Fix dropped dead of a heart attack very young.
God.
And after writing a book about, how to live forever by jogging. And so a friend of mine decided to go for Halloween as Jim Fix. So he put on a death mask and a jogging suit, and nobody got it. So it was like, oh man, you're death going jogging. You're a skeleton out for a run. Everybody thought it was a great costume, but nobody got that he was Jim Fix.
Dark.
Should have worn a name tag.
That's actually kind of awesome, though. Yes, but I love ambiguous costumes because it's so interesting to see different people's train of thought and what they contextualize your costume as. So
yeah,
I think that's really great. It's almost harder. It's harder to make one of those costumes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay, Reverend Doctor, it was great seeing you. Come back anytime.
Note that Jim McGuckin and Mike Godwin, Matt Clifford, Christopher Allen Williams, they all remember. Drew Rickett even remembers what year he died. So the people who remember the 80s here
are old.
Well, don't, but just really remember Jim Fix. He was part of our world, and so Kenny Young was it was a smart Halloween costume. He needed the frickin' name tag.
Yeah. But, I just want to say that when you say part of our world, the first thing that my brain goes to is Aladdin. So that's the difference between your generation and my generation.
Andrew was burping Luke to the tune of The Little Mermaid, the just beat, and I knew what it was.
Oh, I thought you meant doing a beep, burping
no,
out the lyrics
no.
Mermaid.
No, he was patting his back
and weird
in a percussive pattern, and I just started humming along, and he's like, "You got it! I knew you'd get it!" And I was like,
"It's very cute."
I don't know what's going on. I'm just sleep deprived.
You're gonna be an amazing. Yeah, this is the beginning of an amazing.
No part of my world involves The Little Mermaid.
Oh, but maybe it should. Actually, no. Well, I don't know.
Yeah, really?
Well,
I love The Little. No, it's really good.
I did too, but then I read this article that started diagnosing all the Disney princesses, and so now my whole perspective on childhood is
don't do that.
I know.
But did you? There is a law review article about the contract law of The Little Mermaid.
I've not read this, which I will get
to. It's amazing. I'll find it.
It's very funny. It's about the law of the
whether there's whether it's a
legal contract.
Ursula actually had a legal contract. Anyways, I like bring her back. Anyways, everyone,
the cheese is gone.
The cheese is gone. So cheese night is over. But Genevieve, loving having you back so much this week. It has been lovely to see your face.
I've missed you guys.
You're always welcome. I just know that there's a lot going on.
Pardon?
What's the decision about Luke now that you've had an hour to vet it with the Greek chorus? Have you decided?
You have to keep she's made a list. She'll get back to us.
We'll have to stay tuned.
All right.
Well, stay tuned. Maybe there'll be multiple costumes. We'll see how.
I also just want to say there's always the option of a wheel of cheese.
Yes.
Because it would be yummy.
Wait, to make him a wheel of cheese?
Yeah, wheel of cheese costume.
People are just gonna think he's like a circle.
No, with a wedge out of it.
Okay.
Come on, you could make a wheel of cheese costume that people would recognize, KK.
I think that would be a Gouda costume. Sorry, I had to.
Somebody's punchy today.